So I think we've all had that moment on YouTube, right? You upload a video, you hit publish, you refresh the page 40 times, or you go to the real-time analytics, and you realise, yeah, nobody's watching. And if by some miracle they are watching, yeah, they're probably not coming back because your video's not very welcoming, is it?
Honestly, I still refresh it like 20 times an hour, but now I call it market research.
Whatever you want to call it, it hurts, right? We all feel it. But here's the thing. Those moments, those doubts, failures, existential crises, none of that was the end. In fact, for us, it's where it all started.
Yep, every one of us failed at YouTube, and we're not just saying that to be relatable. We're saying it because it's true.
But today we're all sharing the one lesson that took us from failing to winning, so if you're feeling kind of stuck, we've been there, and this might help.
I'll go first. When I started on YouTube, I was in the gaming niche. And great for me for picking the most competitive one, right? I thought I was doing everything right, and I had a chip on my shoulder because I went to school for video editing, so I knew my editing was good, and hey, my thumbnails are just as good as anybody else's, and my ideas are the same as everybody else's, so why aren't I getting views?
Yeah, he's got a point there. It's the old, if mine looks like theirs, I'll get the same results trap, and YouTube just isn't wired to work like that.
Exactly. I assumed because I was doing all the surface level quality things that my videos should get just as many views as their videos, or even at least a fraction of their views. But what I wasn't doing was really analyzing why they were successful in the first place. And I wasn't even taking into account the amount of time they had already spent on YouTube as a platform and the fact that they were just simply ahead of me. I didn't ask myself why anybody would click these thumbnails. I didn't ask myself why I would click these thumbnails. I was still watching their content and very much enjoying it. I didn't study the fact that they were telling stories and using proper storytelling pacing and techniques.
So the lesson is you have to keep improving, learning, and experimenting.
Right, and at the time, people were even telling me that same exact thing, and I just don't think I was ready to hear it yet. But even today, on this channel, we are required to continue experimenting and learning, or else we're gonna fall behind.
All right. I'll go next. Should we talk about 10 to 10s? Yeah, I used to spiral for every 10 to 10 I got to. Now, if you don't know what a 10 to 10 is, it's YouTube ranking your latest video against the performance of your past 10 uploads. And ranking it a 10 is pretty much YouTube telling you it's your worst video, and it's like a virtual slap in the face.
With a side of existential crisis.
Yeah, Dan, you're not wrong. It's okay to make content that's different. Don't let the 10 to 10s spoil your creativity.
Don't worry, I'll get to the bottom of this.
Oh, it's Rob.
Hi, yeah, Jen, it's Rob.
Hey, Rob.
So what you're saying is you found a way to measure success on something other than views?
Yeah, sometimes, because I had to ask myself, what am I making this video for? Is it for fun? Is it just creatively fueling? I mean, I can't expect every video to be a 1 in 10, because if that's the case, I'm going to be failing YouTube all of the time. You know? Wait, hold on. Oh, hey, John. No, I'm on the phone with Rob right now.
Could you tell Rob to look out his window, please?
Okay. Sorry, that was John. Anyways, back to the 10 and 10. What I really do is I look at why it's happening, and often because it's something experimental or something that's just really new to my audience. So at the end of the day, it's still a win in my book. Yeah. Oh, by the way, John's outside your house.
Well, here's what changed everything for me. I stopped thinking like a creator and actually started thinking like you, the viewer.
Meaning what exactly?
To be honest, when I first started out on my YouTube journey, like many of you, I just made videos that I thought were fun, that I enjoyed. I thought they were clever, but I never really stopped to ask myself if that's what the audience wanted. And it turned out it wasn't. I needed to start asking some very simple but important questions. How does this video help this person? Or this person? Or this person? Although we don't need to help this person really, do we?
Yep. Same. Guilty.
When I started coming up with more ideas with the viewer in mind, actually thinking, where are they stuck? What are they really needing help with? In the case of vidIQ, it was identifying when small channels needed breakthroughs. That's when things really shifted.
Exactly. I was putting in 300% effort for 3% of the video. And what really broke that habit was when I realized that the viewers don't care about that stuff that I was focusing on. All they really care about is value.
You are spot on, John. Now stop hanging around outside my house. It's a little bit creepy. Let me give you another example that changed everything for me almost a decade ago. On my old tech channel for several years, I just made stuff about tech. It didn't have to be about a particular device or a particular piece of software. I just liked tech, so I assumed that anyone watching would be the same. Now, at one point, I made a video right here about how to record your iOS screen. And back then, it was pretty tricky to do. And over a long period of time, it gained quite a bit of traction, while I created more random stuff, such as reviewing a Millennium Falcon drone. And I think I may have just found it. It's one of these. Yeah, I'm afraid the outdoors has never been particularly kind to my head. Anyway, I decided to do something a little crazy on my channel. I was going to go all in on how to record an iOS screen for 10 videos. And all of a sudden, my channel found the consistency I'd never had before. And that's simply because the same people were starting to care because I was leading with their problems. Now I need to get back inside because this sun is going to ruin this.
Hey, about your old channel. You were leading with curiosity and not just giving information and opinion, right?
Yes, Dan, completely agree, but I didn't invite you into my house. Go away. Curiosity, relatability, relevance. Look, it's not just about what the video is about, but it's how it makes the viewer feel. Do they feel understood, intrigued, like you're fixing something that actually matters to them? Starting to understand and adopt that mindset changed the whole trajectory of my channel at the time. And yes, I did become somewhat of an authority on a very particular thing on YouTube, how to record your iPhone screen. But I'm still not doing that today. What it ultimately did is teach me a huge lesson in consistency, in the sense of consistently delivering value to a consistent audience. I simply took what I learned and now apply it to YouTube education.
Stop standing outside my house. God. All right, my failure. Perfectionism. I used to do a ton of takes, and when I get done with those takes, I'd put them on the computer, and then I'd find the best video takes, and then I'd find the best audio takes, and I'd cut them out of their original takes, and I'd smash them together to make one perfect take, and then I would do that for every single line. It was a lot of takes.
Actually, it once took him 2 months to make one video.
Oof. Yeah, that's peak YouTube pain.
Feel really compelled to ask this question now. Nope. Feel somewhat compelled to ask this question now. Yeah, it's still there. It's still a bit creepy. John, yeah, hi. What made you finally let go of your perfectionism?
You did. Well, vidIQ did, really. The analytics did. After creating for such a long time, I started to notice that the videos that took so much effort, they didn't really perform all that well. And the videos that only took me a few hours, they went viral. So after enough practice, I started to see which details mattered and which details didn't.
So basically, sure, quality matters, but progress matters more. And that's a huge shift from perfectionist to strategist.
So yeah, in summary, we've all failed many times. And that's kind of a point, to be honest.
Because every creator that you admire, they've messed up too. The difference is, they just keep going.
The real growth happens after the 10 of 10s, after the getting no views, after the complete breakdowns.
You don't need to be perfect. You just gotta keep uploading, keep learning, and keep showing up.
So if you do feel as if you're in some sort of stuck phase on your YouTube journey, good. That's exactly where you're supposed to be.
Now, turn that failure into your best video yet, and I've got just the video to help you do that.